If you're considering a move to Texas in the next 3, 6, or even 12 months, this video is going to save you a lot of time, money, and stress. After helping many families relocate to the northern Houston area, I am well equipped to share with you how to make a relocation plan, not just buy a home in a new state. So we're gonna break it down and share with you some of the top focuses for you if you are planning a relocation to Texas. If this is your first time to the channel and you're interested in all things living in Houston, including the northern suburbs, subscribe and you'll be the first to know about the real estate market here in Houston, Texas. I'm Erica Sprague. I'm the broker and owner of Lane Realty. I have lived and worked here in this wonderful area for almost 20 years, and I love helping families move to and around this great community. Whether your move is 9 days or 90 days from now, reach out. We'd love to talk to you and hear more about how you are planning to make your move to Houston. Our contact information is in the description below. We'd love to hear from you, learn how we can help. Step 1, let's get clear on your timeline. There's normally 3 timelines most people fall into. The first one is an immediate move, and that is 0 to 60 days. And this can be normally for a job transfer, a corporate relocation, a family emergency, and they need immediate housing. A medium timeline, 2 to 6 months. This normally involves needing to sell your current home where you currently live, you're planning for school transition, and you have an employment transition involved in this move. Long-term planning. So this is the 6 to 12 month marker. This could be for retirement, it could be for future job openings, and it could be for a lifestyle change. And so those are normally areas where you have a little bit more time involved in making this plan to move to a new location. Each timeline determines almost every other decision involved in this move. Knowing your real budget. A lot of times homebuyers focus on their qualified amount and the purchase price that they are looking in. And while this is important, it needs to work hand in hand with some other things. So your monthly payment when you are thinking about making a move, and you maybe have talked to a lender and you're thinking, okay, so my monthly payment is going to be my mortgage, my PMI, if that's involved, and possibly your taxes, possibly your insurance, but maybe not, okay? So if you're not super familiar with a lot of the communities, the taxes, the insurance, the HOA, the MUD that might be in place, all of these elements are going to factor into your monthly payment. So you wanna make sure you understand, yes, you might be qualified in mortgage terms or financial terms of a purchase price of $500,000. However, when you look at that payment, it needs to encompass taxes, insurance, an HOA if there's one in place, a MUD if there's one in place. We have a PIDS here in some areas. Is that factored into your monthly payment? Because all those things make a difference, and you want to make sure that you are familiar with that. Many people are coming to Texas from states where the property taxes are very low, and they see Texas property taxes as being substantially higher, and they are, but it's also offset by the fact that Texas does not have a state income tax. So you have to look at those things on the same page so you understand the difference there. Define the lifestyle you want before you look at homes. Many times the conversation that I have with relocation clients is about what their day-to-day looks like. Do they commute for work? Are they used to driving more than 30 minutes to get to shopping, to get to amenities? Do they need or want acreage? And do they want an HOA? Are they okay with deed restrictions? Do they find that schools are really important? And all of those factors are going to play a huge part in the subdivision you land in. So really understanding your lifestyle and your needs on an everyday basis is going to need to come before this community or that community. Take a discovery trip. You should absolutely plan at least one trip to the area you are looking at moving to before you actually move, before you actually do the house hunting. And what you want to do here is you want to act like you are kind of on vacation. You want to stay at a hotel or stay at an Airbnb, and you want to get out into the community. You want to go to the grocery stores. You want to do that commute. If you're thinking, hey, I want to live in Magnolia, but I know there's a really strong possibility of me having to work down in Houston, then you need to make that drive during rush hour. So that would be between 7 and 9 a.m. and then 3 to 5 or 4 to 6 p.m. in the evenings. You want to get out and do that. You want to go to the parks. You want to see who is coming to these amenities. You want to visit the pools. You want to make sure that the life around the community that you are considering matches what you're used to or what you are thinking you want in a new community. You should go tour multiple communities. And you want to plan this out. It gets overwhelming. So I'm not saying go look at new construction communities per se. I'm saying get out and visit the area. So if you're thinking, okay, I want to be in the Woodlands, then you go to the Woodlands and you want to visit Aldenbridge and you want to check out Sterling Ridge and you want to check out Indian Springs. If you're thinking, hey, I want to get out to Magnolia, go drive through some existing communities, maybe go check out some new construction, but not necessarily the builders, just the environment and where it is, what it's close to, and what you would experience living in that community. You don't want to do more than 3 to 4 communities a day because, as I said, it gets overwhelming. Things run together, you won't remember. You want to pack lots of snacks and just go take it in. Go have some real life experience in the areas you think might be a possibility for your relocation. Get approved early. If you are going to need financing or just think you might, so maybe you're open to building, maybe you're opening to purchasing land, a new construction loan, look at all those factors and get pre-approved. You may or may not be able to use the same lender for those opportunities, but you want to know what your real life budget looks like. And you want to talk to that lender about, hey, look, we're looking at a community with an HOA. We're looking at taxes that are going to be about 3% or about 2.5% based on what we're seeing. We kind of need to know about insurance. And so have those conversations early so that you don't get out there and start running around and not really know what you are approved for. I've had people who want to keep all that information private and not really talk to a lender. You know, they're good at math and they can work it out on their calculator online. However, speaking with someone who does this for a living is very advantageous. You know, there's just things that we miss with these calculators out there online. They just don't take in all the factors. And you really want to make sure you're looking at an accurate picture when you are talking about your financing and what you can afford and how much you want to afford. Build your local team. Your local team, when you are making a relocation, should absolutely involve a realtor, a lender, an insurance agent, a moving company, an inspector, and utility setup assistance if necessary. And many times if I'm the first person you find, then I have these connections. I will connect you with sometimes multiple people so you can get a feel for how they work. And you know, sometimes pricing is different. Sometimes one offers something you need over another one. And those things are valid and important, but it is essential that you have a team. You always want one in a real estate transaction. However, when you are moving to a new state, you want professionals who are familiar with the area you are going to be assisting you. That's going to make your move much more seamless and less stressful and will eliminate a lot of the guesswork and questions people may have when they are not familiar with the area you're moving to. A home search strategy. This is really important. Now with today's technology, you are able to get online and see virtual tours of most properties. New construction has all of their information online. You can see floor plans, you can see the inventory, you can see homes where they have lots available. You can do FaceTime tours, you can do neighborhood videos. We have several on our channel you can check out. And so virtual tours are a way to really feel like you're in that environment, get a good idea for what the products are that you have to choose from. As far as in-person visits, when you make that trip down here to scout out subdivisions, it's a good idea to have some homes to tour. Okay, so whether you do the community scouting 2 or 3 days here, and then you're like, okay, we like these communities, let's go check out some real homes in some of our top areas, then you want to have those in-person visits that'll enable you to save time and money if you've gotten the virtual tours of the communities and been able to rule out some things that don't work for you. Your realtor can set those up and you're just using your time more efficiently than if you said, okay, we haven't been to any of these communities and we haven't seen any of these houses and we're gonna do all of this in 4 days because that's how much time we've allotted to come down here. That's going to be extremely stressful. It's going to be confusing. It's going to be exhausting. And you might feel like you walked away with less information than you hoped for. So having this all planned out, thought out ahead of time and kind of chunking it down really will help you get more out of your time and really make this process much easier on you. So tell you a little bit about what it looks like when you purchase a home in Texas as far as the contract, especially if you're coming from another state or you've maybe never bought a home before. When you go under contract on a home in Texas, there's a few stages that we go through, and we'll just hit them at a high level so you kind of understand. You will have an option period. The residential contract refers to this as a termination period, and that is the exclusive right for the buyer to terminate the contract for any reason. It's pretty common for the days to be 7 to 10 days. So the buyer is able to hire an inspector. They can have a roofing contractor come out. You can have an HVAC inspector come out. You get to inspect that property and review the report and negotiate any repairs or request a concession for those repairs. And in that time frame, so if you find another home you like, you can walk away, and it just costs you your option fee, which depending on the sales price, that could be anywhere from $200 to $1,000. Really just kind of depends on the purchase price there. If you find another home that comes on the market and you're like, we need to go see that home, we like that home more. If the inspection scares you and you're just like, no, this is too much. If the seller won't agree to the repairs that you feel are essential, you can walk out, only cost you your option fee. You get your earnest money back. Earnest money is typically 1% of the purchase price, and that goes to title. So your option fee and your earnest money fee are held by the title company. So that's a key phrase here. In a lot of states, you have an attorney who walks you through this process. And here in Texas, we use a title company. They are our facilitator. They run title. They make sure it's clear, free of any liens, anything like that. And they get all the paperwork together. And that's where we close at the end when we get to our closing date. So we said inspections. If you are using financing, there will be an appraisal. We'll get through this period, and the lender orders that you pay through your lender. A survey is required if you are doing financing. If you're paying cash, you do not need a survey. We have really stressed in the last several years that the buyer purchase a new survey. And this is because even if the seller has an existing survey and they're willing to let you use it, let's say you're buying a home, it has no pool, the survey that the seller has says everything's good, you can build a pool back there, there's no utility easement in the middle of the yard. So you say, okay, great, it's all good. You sign off. 6 months later, you're like, hey, I'm gonna build a pool. So you contact your pool company, they come out, they say, let me see your survey. Your survey says it's good, but then they start digging and lo and behold, there's a utility down here. So you can't build a pool. And you as a buyer are thinking, well, I would not have purchased this home if I knew I was not gonna be able to build a pool. So you're like, well, I'm gonna go back to the survey company because they were wrong. And here's the problem. You cannot go back to that survey company. You have no recourse because the relationship does not transfer from the seller to the new buyer. Okay, you only have a warranty or any recourse if you are the actual purchaser of that survey. So this is the protection for the buyer. You want to get your own survey. If you're buying a typical subdivision lot, this is about $500 to $600. If you're purchasing acreage, it's going to be more expensive, but it's well worth it, especially if you think you might ever want to do some enhancement of your backyard that will require a pool or any extensive thing like that. Before we get to closing, the seller and the buyer will handle utility transfers, so everything works seamlessly. On the last day of closing, you can get over to your house and you still have power and gas and water. And closing is held at the title company, and we normally close separately. The buyer and the seller normally sign at different times, and there's not a lot of commingling there. Sometimes people don't understand that, but there's too many emotions that go on with a real estate transaction that most times it's just best to handle everything separate. What most people wish they had done after they have already relocated are they wish they had visited more than once. Like I said before, really take the time to come visit, just kind of spend time experiencing the communities you're interested in, and then decide which ones you like and go back and focus on homes in those specific neighborhoods, okay? And sometimes that takes more than one trip. A lot of people wish they had rented first. And I don't discourage this. You know, being able to rent for 6 months, maybe a year, is very advantageous, especially if you are relocating and you don't have to be in one place or another, okay? If you don't have a job or a family need that you need to be within a certain commute or time frame from, it is better to rent and find out if you really enjoy that community that you thought you would so much. People wish they had asked more questions about taxes. So this is a great question every year, especially in Montgomery County and Harris County. People get real upset about taxes and how they're increasing and how they all work together, right? Your taxes and your insurance and your home value is going up year over year, and people not fully understanding their tax situation when they select a community is very unfortunate. And there are definitely people who have moved without understanding all the implications of that and how the natural progression of those things will work. So make sure that you ask all those questions and do your research there. Understood commute times better. Okay, so if you have to work somewhere and live somewhere else, right? Not have to, but if you choose to, so you know that a commute is in your future, then you really want to understand what is the current traffic, what are the times of heavy rush hour, and what is the projected growth for the next 3 to 5 years. You know, if you're going to live in Magnolia, you need to understand that right now traffic is substantial. And that is because the infrastructure is behind the growth. And it's going to continue to be that way for the next 5 to 8 years as all these communities keep coming in and bringing all this greater population. It's just going to continue to be that way. Eventually it will get better and it will subside and it will be more normal. You want to know those things. You want to understand, okay, what is the trajectory for this area and how is it going to affect me? And started planning sooner. There's a lot of people who embark on this move and they wish they had started months earlier. They wish they had been able to research and talk to people. And that's not always possible, right? If your job relocates you and they say, hey, we need you to be in Houston in 30 days, you don't have a lot of time. So if you are in that pocket where you have 2 to 6 months or you have 6 to 12 months, really starting this educational journey about the area you're thinking about moving to is very important. And a lot of people who didn't have that opportunity or just didn't take the time to do it, or they didn't understand the magnitude of the decision they were making and all the implications it would have on their life and their family, really wish they would have taken a little bit more time and energy to do the research that is so valuable when you're making a relocation like this. So whether you're moving next month or next year, my job is not to help you buy a house. My job is to help you make a relocation plan. So whether you're moving to the Woodlands, Montgomery, Magnolia, Tomball, Conroe, Willis, or anywhere else in northern Houston, I want to help you make that move as seamless as possible. So give me a call and let's start the process of mapping out your move.